People often say that respect is earned through kindness, honesty, and good intentions. But if you observe the world carefully, really carefully, you'll begin to notice something unsettling. Kindness alone does not command respect. Good intentions do not protect you, and honesty, without strength, is often ignored. There is a deeper layer beneath human interaction, a colder, more strategic reality that most people sense but rarely admit. Centuries ago, Niccolò Machiavelli studied this reality and wrote about it with brutal honesty. He didn't describe the world as we wish it were. He described it as it is. And if you truly want to be respected, not superficially, but deeply, you must understand these principles. Because respect is not given, it is calculated.
The first rule: respect begins where your boundaries are enforced. People test limits. Consciously or unconsciously, they push, they probe, they observe. They want to know, how far can I go with this person? If you never say no, if you always accommodate, if you constantly sacrifice your time and energy for others, you are teaching them something. You are teaching them that your boundaries are flexible, that your time is cheap, that your presence is guaranteed. And when something is guaranteed, it loses value. Respect starts the moment you become willing to withdraw, not dramatically, not emotionally, but decisively. You don't need to argue. You don't need to explain yourself endlessly. You simply need to make it clear, through action, that access to you is a privilege, not a right. Because the truth is simple. People respect what they can lose.
The second rule: familiarity reduces perceived value. There is a paradox in human psychology. We crave closeness, but we undervalue what becomes too familiar. When people can predict everything about you, your reactions, your thoughts, your availability, you stop being intriguing. You become comfortable, and comfort rarely inspires respect. This doesn't mean you should be distant or cold. It means you should be selective. Not every thought needs to be shared. Not every plan needs to be revealed. Not every emotion needs to be displayed. Leave space. Let people wonder about you. Let them fill in the gaps. Mystery creates attention, and attention, when controlled, creates respect. The third rule: emotional control is power. Anyone can react. Anyone can raise their voice, defend themselves impulsively, or lash out when provoked. But very few people can remain composed under pressure. And that is where real power lies. When someone insults you, they are testing your stability. When someone tries to provoke you, they are looking for control. If they can control your emotions, they control you. But if you remain calm, if your expression doesn't crack, if your tone doesn't shift, if your presence stays steady, you create a psychological imbalance. They expect chaos. You give them silence. They expect reaction. You give them control. And in that moment, without saying a word, you establish dominance. Because composure signals something deeper. I am not easily shaken. And people instinctively respect what they cannot disturb. The fourth rule: never display your full strength. There's a mistake many people make when they begin to understand power. They try to show it. They try to prove they are intelligent, capable, dominant, or superior. But power that needs to be displayed is often doubted. True power is felt, not announced. Think about it. The most dangerous person in a room is rarely the loudest. The most influential individual is not the one demanding attention. It is the one who speaks less, observes more, and reveals only what is necessary. When you show everything,
People stop guessing. When people stop guessing, they stop respecting. Hold something back, not out of fear, but out of strategy, because unpredictability is a form of control.
The fifth rule is detachment increases authority. Attachment creates vulnerability. The more you need someone's approval, the more power they have over you. The more you fear losing a relationship, an opportunity, or a connection, the more likely you are to compromise yourself. And people can sense this. Desperation is visible, even when you try to hide it. But detachment? Detachment is powerful. When you are okay with walking away, your decisions become sharper, your words become more deliberate, your presence becomes heavier. Because you are no longer negotiating from fear, you are choosing from strength, and people respect those who choose, not those who cling. The sixth rule: value must be felt, not claimed. You can tell people you are valuable. You can list your qualities, your achievements, your intentions, but none of it matters unless they feel it. Value is not a statement. It is an experience. It is in how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you respond to pressure, how you treat your own time. If you tolerate disrespect, you communicate low value. If you chase attention, you communicate low value. If you constantly explain yourself, justify yourself, and seek validation, you communicate low value. But when you are selective, when your attention is earned, when your presence is not easily accessed, people begin to adjust, because they understand something without you saying it. This person cannot be treated casually. The seventh rule: fear and respect are closer than you think. This is one of the most misunderstood ideas. People often separate fear and respect as if they are opposites. They are not. They are connected. Not fear in the sense of terror or harm, but fear in the sense of consequence. If there is no consequence to disrespecting you, why wouldn't someone try? But if there is a clear, consistent response, if crossing your boundaries leads to distance, silence, or loss of access, people become careful. They think before they act. And that hesitation is the beginning of respect. Because respect is not just admiration, it is awareness. The eighth rule: not everyone should like you. This is where many people fail. They try to be liked by everyone. They soften their opinions. They adjust their personality. They avoid conflict at all costs. But in doing so, they become forgettable, neutral. And neutrality does not command respect. Strong individuals are polarizing. Some people admire them, others dislike them, but no one ignores them, and that is the key difference. If everyone likes you, it often means you have compromised too much. Respect requires clarity, and clarity creates division. So accept it. Some people will not like you, not because you are wrong, but because you are not easy to control. The ninth rule: silence is a strategic tool. Most people talk too much. They explain, defend, justify, react. But silence is powerful. When you don't immediately respond, people begin to think. They replay what they said. They question their assumptions. Silence creates tension, and tension creates attention. It shifts the dynamic. Instead of you trying to prove something, they begin trying to understand you. Use silence deliberately, not as avoidance, but as control. Because the less you say, the more your words matter. The 10th rule: respect is maintained through consistency. Gaining respect is one thing. Keeping it is another. You cannot enforce boundaries one day and ignore them the next. You cannot demand respect in one situation and tolerate disrespect in another.
People watch patterns. They study behavior over time. If you are inconsistent, they will test you again. But if your standards are clear, and more importantly, consistent, people adapt. They learn how to treat you because you have taught them.
The final truth. The world is not designed to reward softness without strength. It is not designed to protect those who give endlessly without limits. And it is certainly not designed to respect those who do not respect themselves. This doesn't mean you should become cold or cruel or manipulative. It means you must become aware of how people think, how they perceive value, how they respond to strength and weakness. Because once you understand this, everything changes. You stop chasing respect, and you start embodying it. You stop asking for better treatment, and you start requiring it. And slowly, without force, without noise, people begin to see you differently, not because you told them to, but because you showed them how. Respect is not about being liked. It is not about being understood. It is not even about being accepted. It is about being recognized. Recognized as someone who cannot be ignored, cannot be easily replaced, and cannot be treated without consequence. And once that recognition is established, you no longer need to demand respect, because it becomes the only way people know how to approach you.